We have lots coming for you tonight. I'm Sam Humphrey, and this is Eagle Eye on the primaries.
Of the last 50 polls that have been done nationally, I beat Trump 47 of those 50 times.
Tonight.
Progressive ideas are popular ideas, even if there are a lot of people on this stage who don't want to say so.
Americans across 14 states head to the polls to cast votes for their favorite candidates.
If we spend the next 4 months tearing our party apart, we're going to watch Donald Trump spend the next 4 years tearing our country apart.
Imagine spending the better part of 2020 with Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump. Think about what that will be like for this country.
I'm running for president to be the Democratic nominee that rebuilds our Democratic Party, takes it out of their hands, and truly puts it in the hands of the people of this country.
My entire career has been wrapped up in dealing with civil rights and civil liberties. I don't expect anything. I plan to earn the vote.
We are looking at a party that has decided that we're either going to support someone who's a democratic socialist or somebody who has a long history of being a Republican.
I know that if I were black, my success would have been a lot harder to achieve. That's just a fact, and we've got to do something about it than rather just demagogue about it.
Democratic candidates looking for the opportunity to face off against Donald Trump in November. And in Alabama, the race for Senate continues as Republican candidates seek votes to face Democratic Senator Doug Jones for one of 2 Alabama Senate seats. This is Eagle Eye's Eye on the Primaries. Now to Sam Humphrey at the news desk.
After tonight, the path for every candidate will become more clear.
Welcome and happy Election Day, everyone.
Which of the candidates are in the best position to earn a lot of delegates?
Someone that's expected to do really well and has to do really well is Vice President Joe Biden.
And that kind of coalition in the middle of the party, in the moderate section of the party, that really has been what's propelled Joe Biden tonight.
Eagle Eye projects that Senator Bernie Sanders will take a percentage of the 16 delegates from that state.
The winner was Bernie Sanders with a total of 16 delegates and 6 pledged. What does this mean for the state of Vermont?
Well, it's a state he had to carry. It's his home state. It's the senator from there for a long time.
Eagle Eye projects Senator Bernie Sanders will take the state of Utah, which has 29 delegates up for grabs.
We're going to send it live to Andrew Coates, who's at the Lee County Polling Center, for the update on the primaries.
Thank you, Sam. I'm Andrew Coates, live at Lee County Polling Center. And as Sam mentioned earlier, we have been here for 2 hours and we're currently only reporting 50% of votes.
We do need to vote. So anybody that's at home, laying in the bed or whatever you're doing, please get up and come and vote. We had so many our ancestors who fight for this right to vote. So I think all the people of color need to vote. So please come out to the Borkin Center or wherever you are signed up to vote. Come out and vote today.
Well, as the chief elections officer for the state of Alabama, it's our role to ensure that the elections are safe, secure, and that the results are accountable and transparent for all people that are involved. We want to ensure that we've made it easy to vote and hard to cheat.
The American dream changing. So my slogan is make the American dream real.
Through those doors, down the hall and to the left. It's one of many polling places in Northwest Arkansas where the community can cast their ballot. Over 1,300 delegates are up for grabs today in these 14 states, Tennessee making up for 122 of those, 64 Democratic delegates and 58 Republican delegates.
Last year, Trump took nearly 40% of the Super Tuesday vote here in Tennessee and is expected to win this year's nomination with no problem.
Now this Super Tuesday is going to have plenty of firsts here in Colorado as well. This is going to be the first time that we are holding a primary in about 20 years after the 2016 election,
Both parties in the state decided that switching back to the primary was necessary.
A very strong possibility of sweeping all 16 of the state's pledged delegates.
Tell you exactly who's going to win in 2020. What we can tell you that coming from a state that has a variety of opinions, the most important thing is respecting each other's votes.
This is what you can expect on the ballot this upcoming Tuesday. There will be no referendums, and there will also not be a Republican Party nominee to vote for. Instead, the Republican Party candidate will be chosen at the party convention.
We'll begin with Pete Buttigieg, who was the youngest in the field at 38 years old and an Indiana native.
I think it's also important to mention that Klobuchar was hugely popular in Minnesota and coasted to victory last November in a state that President Trump nearly won in 2016.
There's a new amendment up for voting in this year's primary election. Titled Amendment 1, this new amendment would rename the State Board of Education to the Alabama Commission on Elementary and Secondary Education. Currently, the state board is elected and the superintendent is appointed by the board. Alabama is one of 11 states that elects their school boards, and one of 6 where the board then appoints the superintendent. Other states include Michigan and Utah. The new amendment would change the board from being elected by voters to being appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. The title of the state superintendent of education would also be changed to the Secretary of Elementary and Secondary Education. The new amendment would align Alabama with 12 other states, including Kentucky, Florida, and Arkansas. If this amendment passes, it would be the 947th amendment to the Alabama Constitution, which is already the longest constitution in the nation. The amendment is one of the big talking points of Governor Kay Ivey's State of the State address. She states, "We've become too complacent on being at or near the bottom of national education rankings." Citing the nation's report card, Alabama is 49th in terms of reading and 52nd in terms of math. Governor Ivey claims too many of our high school graduates simply aren't ready for college or a career, and has high hopes that the new amendment will improve education in Alabama. As votes come in, Eagle Eye will keep you informed on whether this amendment passes or not.
We have breaking news that Amendment 1 has failed in the state of Alabama. The failed amendment means that the board will still be elected by Alabama voters, but the proposed amendment suggested that the board would be appointed, and it also suggested a name change for the Alabama Board of Education.
Alabama currently has 1 Democrat and 1 Republican senator. The winner of this race will face incumbent Democrat Senator Doug Jones. He was elected in December 2017 after Senator Sessions was appointed to serve as Attorney General under President Donald Trump.
Likely, we will see a scenario where we have a runoff between the top 2 candidates, but if you're able to get these Lee County votes, you're able to get the votes down in Mobile, those kind of population centers will be key for the Senate election. We've seen Lee County be a pretty good indicator of what's happening statewide.
If a candidate fails to receive 50% of the vote plus 1 vote, then there will be a necessary runoff.
Welcome back. Eagle Eye is now projecting a runoff election for the Republican Senate primary between former Auburn coach Tommy Tuberville and former Attorney General Jeff Sessions, after no one earned over 50% of the vote. The runoff election will be on March 31st, with the winner going on to face Democratic Senator Doug Jones in November's election.
Do you think that this is going to come into a race of Bernie Sanders versus Joe Biden?
I absolutely do. We talked earlier in the night about Michael Bloomberg reassessing his campaign tomorrow. I think Elizabeth Warren's got to do the same.
Firewall in South Carolina, that Biden really showed that he's not out of it, and I think that's really changed the dynamic of how these primaries, and especially this Super Tuesday, is going to go, now that Biden has seemingly found a backstop in these southern states and hopes to pick up a couple more tonight.
In 2016, we know that this is a Republican stronghold in the general election. Donald Trump carried the state.
You need to study the ballot, check on the candidates, see which candidate you want to support, see what issues are on the ballot that you're going to be voting on.
To be honest with you, I don't see a strong contender to the president. The only person who I believe can pull over independents and some never-Trumpers would be Mike Bloomberg, but at this point he just doesn't have the support behind him and hasn't even been on the ballot.
It's a math equation, and it's every single delegate counts.
I'm Sim Humphrey.
And I'm Delaney Barrow. Thanks for joining us in War Eagle.